Hello. So it's been a while, as you probably know, that I haven't streamed, streamed for a couple of days now. Um, it's not that I haven't been working. It's just more that I haven't. I've been wanting to try to get some things done. I have gotten around to door dashing again. Yeah, that sucks. I've been trying to do. My goal has been saying 2 hours or $20, which is about all I can expect to make on any 2 hour period. So $10 an hour. But I've been doing better. I think for the last 2 days it's been more like $13 an hour. Woo! um, Making about $25, $26 a day. Nothing too spectacular, but it's better than nothing, right? Um, but I only do that for a little bit. And it hasn't really stopped me completely from working because I can't stop. Ah, oh, what happened to my So, catch up. Where am I these days? Well, I have been making good progress. I haven't done as much UI as I wanted to do. Mostly because there's a few things I'm missing first to get the parts done that I want, and I keep bringing me back to the back end. Uh, One is my data did not have a couple of key items that I'm going to need. One, I had no offensive lineman, no defensive lineman, nobody like that. I'm sorry, no offensive lineman. I guess that's all I really had. I had defensive linemen, but I didn't have any offensive linemen because there's really no stats tracked, or at least not in my data, that had offensive lineman data. So there was no offensive lineman in the system. So I did it. I broke down and I worked with AI a little bit, and I started pulling data from the NFL Python library. And I got it to give me the basics that I needed for every position. And I've gotten my 1,590 players um, up to about 2,100 in the system, which includes now, you can see it actually has fullbacks, which I didn't actually think I have long snappers and fullbacks, two things I didn't think I actually wanted to put in my system, but now I have them. There is no stats for long snappers, so I don't know how that's going to work out for me. But there may be in the future. I can use them, create them, and then maybe I'll have to give them some fake stuff, like make up some things, and then eventually, once I start running um, the application, I can start generating some stats that I can actually use, like their success rates, how often they fumble, don't fumble. Maybe add some stats in that are pretty solid, but all I'll probably do is use my potential system that will create randomization, which will actually create the long snapper randomizers. And then at the end of a season or two or three, they'll start to develop in whatever direction they go. And then ultimately, I will have long snappers with actual data. Fullbacks, they're normally treated as halfbacks, but as you can see, there's actually players, and it did show in the it did. Interestingly enough, I was talking to AI, and it says not very many teams actually carry a fullback, but as you can see, I have 42 fullbacks in the system. Didn't know that. That's news. So now I got fullbacks, I got punters, I got kickers, which I had I think of those before anyway. But I did not have long snappers and fullbacks, so that's going to be new. I do also now have centers, and I have tackles, and I have guards. Both things that are very important. Although, as you can see, I have no delineation between a left guard and a right guard, or a left tackle and a right tackle, even though they are in fact, um, you know, separate. They get paid differently. So that's going to make it interesting. I don't really have a solution for that. So yeah, I do have a fallback for players, but again, I don't have any stats specifics. So all of my tackles and guards are going to get the same stats of all my other blockers. And again, once the game starts to develop, uh, I don't know how I'm going to even delineate between these players because some guys get paid more and there's not much I can do about it, right? So, and I don't want to. I'm not using their actual NFL salaries because that would break my game. My game actually builds off of. My game builds off of builds the salaries off their stats. Let's see. Also, in order to do that, I had to go through and have it blend in with my. I'm sorry, I'm doing two things at once. So if you see me typing and talking, and you see me my talking start to lose ground, you know why. Okay, so back to it. What I did, I had to get O-line. I had to get also experience. In other words, how many years these guys have played, and I needed their draft, the team that drafted them, who they were drafted by. Additionally, I also needed to get their draft number, which is where they were drafted in. And also, if they weren't drafted, what team was their first team? What team picked them up and made them a member of their team? Because that's part of the design of the game, is that players come from the area that they were drafted by. So, if I put any player into the league, they'll come in as the character that represents the team that drafted them. So I needed all that information. So I created this pull from the Python NFL library that actually pulled and got me all that information, and that's what you see here. Now, I'm thinking I'm gonna exception all of the players that fall into this weird zone here, right? I'm sorry, right here. So drafted by teams with no drafted by, no experience, no team, no position, and didn't play any games, because that's stuff that isn't going to have any stats for me. I'm not going to have any use for it exactly. I thought about keeping players that have no games played, but I do need to know their position. So I'm still kind of in the air about that one. But these fields I need to have. I need to have, because experience is missing on 177. Missing means I don't have anything. I don't have any idea what there is. The data just doesn't exist. It should be a 0 if it's 0, a rookie. But actually, all these guys in here should actually have some kind of record. They should all have 1. I think rookies are even a 1. Anybody else is, 0 should not be a thing. But 177 may still let a 0 in. I don't know. Drafted by, again, 207 out of 2170. That's not bad, but I want to eliminate. I think I'm going to exception all the players that are missing this data. This will allow me to have at least the base information of what I need. Games played missing. Games played missing? That's not even right. I don't know what that is, because they're not missing. I don't have 1,900 guys missing games played. I don't know what that is. I was working with AI to try to get me a sum total, and AI was being stupid. So AI could not do a total. It's like, oh, I just wanted you to do a total, man. Just tell me. Okay, so what I wanted to, I do not know Mongo very well, so teams with required stats. And so we got to do something of the nature of this. And again, I don't know what I'm doing here, so bear with me while I try to figure this out. All right, so we're going to do something of the, let's Try this. Match exists. Let's see, exists. Drafted by. Oh, wait, what? Exists true, drafted by. Oh, team. Oh, all right. So, okay. Team exists. True. Okay. True. And then we'll go comma. Drafted by exists true. Experience true, position true. All right. Let's see here. I think, is that all I want? Drafted by experience, team, and position. And games played. Now this is one, again, ampersand. Is it ampersand? No, $sign. $sign greater than 0. All right. Let's see if this works. Let's see if I'm able to figure out what AI cannot. I don't need this. Oh wait, I do need it. I do need that. Never mind. And then we're gonna go down here. I want to get. Is that it? Okay. Let's see if it took AI like 15 tries to never get it right. So let's see if I can get it. Oh no, I failed. Okay, so we know there's a count. It's able to count. Why is it failing though? Okay, so match. Team exists true. Drafted by is true. Experience is true. Position true. Games played greater than 0. So why did that fail? All right, let's see. I was using ChatGPT. Maybe Claude's less dumb. Let's go try Claude. Because we don't want if null 0. Match. Well, this is obviously not wrong. I mean, this is what I want. Let me see if Claude can tell me what I'm doing wrong with this. Why is this line returning 0? I know there are a bunch of records that meet this criteria. You know what I should do? Let's just let's do a quick test. Actually, let's hold up. I don't want to do anything yet. Let's just see. Let's do one at a time, shall we? Let's just go here, and we're gonna go. What's the comment line here? Is that this thing? Okay. Comment, is that the right one? Yeah, okay. Let's just see if there's, first we'll see if the team exists. Oh, wait, what did I do? Yeah, it needs to be a comma here. Okay. All right, so we got 1706. Okay, so that's right, because it's about 21 minus 464. Perfect. All right, so let's see about adding just one more thing. Drafted by. We'll just go there, and we'll just go with that. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to go. Oh yeah. But I also have to get rid of these two. All right, 1510. Okay, so that dropped me 207. We still lost about everybody. So it's like there's different people missing team and missing drafted by. Because that's 671. And that's 600 and... Well, 600 would put me at 1,500. And we got 660. So about 11 overlap. That's 11 overlap. Got 1510, and we're off by 610. And there's a total of 671. So yeah. Oh, it was it's like 11 overlap. Okay. So we know it's not experience that's throwing everything off. So now... Oops. Oh. How about experience? All right, so experience does not break anything. It basically, if they didn't have the others, then they're fine. Now, I don't know that experience isn't getting set to 0 for some reason. Because I do have code in my stuff that actually says set it, but you say there's 177 missing this value. Now, theoretically, if you don't have a team, you probably don't have any experience, but I would think those are kind of, let's take this one out for a minute. I just want to take this out, see what I get. See how much, if there's any overlap here. Because here there's 0 overlap. It stayed at 1510, so it's some of the same guys. I mean, there's 100% overlap, I mean. Oh, weird. Okay, wait a minute. 464. Now we're at 1529. So an experience missing is on 177. So that's 641. Is that right? It's less than 640. Okay, so yeah, there was a little overlap there, but once I took out drafted by, it lost it all. All right, so let's see. Let's see what players have a position that is see if positions in here. Maybe it's my games played that's tripping the whole thing up, because I added that in as the last step. 1510. Okay, so yeah, it must be games played messing things up. Position is only missing apparently on the same players, because we are not getting any breakage at all. I'm going to try one thing quick. I'm going to take out, I want to see how many position people are missing, just because I want to see this. Wait a minute. Position players missing. I have 63 position players missing. But yet, nothing came out. All right, there is some weirdness going on here. How can we have... How can we have 63 missing? Doing this missing expression. So if the field is false, field is null, or field is empty. Oh, so maybe some of these guys have a position. Ooh, how do we do that? Match. So that would be match true. Okay, so I'm getting a little weirdness here. So that would be true. How about what if I tried like match? How do you do like... You say not? Nope. Is this an okay thing? Can you do that? Is that allowed? Missing expression. How about equals false? No. Yeah, equals false. Expression. And what will that do? Okay, so I can't say false. How about not equal? Can you do a not equal? Because this returns a bool, right? Huh. So we know that the problem here is that this is not reading correctly. How do I write this line correctly? So it didn't like missing expression equals false. All right, let's see what this does. Exists true, exists true, exists true. Oh, NE is not equal. Man, this is why I hate Mongo. It uses really cryptic terms like NE. You're like, oh, well, that's not equal. They use words. Words are not cool, man. So we still have it totally invalid. Let's see what happens if I take this one out. feel like that games played thing is tripping me up. I don't know why. Yeah, look. It's games played. Hey, Civilivit. Well, no, I'm actually trying to validate my data a little bit. So one of the things I did these last few days is I connected to the NFL Python library, and I wrote some code to pull in some data points that I'm missing. Like I don't have in my source data, I didn't have any offensive linemen at all. They don't exist. I mean, I do have blocking stats and skills built, but they're built off of team data. And because there's not a lot of NFL stats actually kept on offensive linemen, especially going back, a long period of time. There's more now in current seasons than there used to be, but there's not a whole lot. So I had to build it off of team stats, success on passing and running plays and stuff like that. So, and then in my game, when the game's running, it'll start building up individual stats because I can actually keep track of things like when a block has failed and whether or not the guy that they were blocking tackles somebody or whatever. I can start accumulating the data that will give each individual offensive lineman their more accurate results. But for the starting point, I had to build it off of team data. And then what I'm doing is I'm actually going to, I don't know what, kind of skew the abilities a little bit based on which position they are on the offensive line, just because, so that I can make them different. But then hopefully everything will kind of start balancing out in time. But what I'm trying to do is validate some of the data. So I built this query that actually tells me, when I'm missing key data points, how many of my players that I have in the system now are missing key data points. Like I need to know this value, the draft number, where they're drafted, is going to be one of the tools, so one of the values I use to determine the potential of players, which is what's going to be used a lot to determine their growth and failure within when they're playing in games. It's a special sauce.
Could I have that ice lemonade?
Yeah. It's my special sauce for how players are going to advance and grow while they're playing in their games. So I need that potential value, and one of the values that's going to be used is the draft number, where they were drafted. Also, I need to know their. Some players don't have draft number though, because not all players are drafted, right? I mean, you've got free agents that are picked up, and I've got other plans for those guys. But we also have drafted by, which is not just drafted by. It's the team that drafted a player, but also the team that gave a player their first season. And that's going to drive what the character is that a player comes into the league as. So if a player is drafted by, like, say, the team that represents the Colts, they will be the mascot of the team that represents the Colts. So that's one of the things I need. I need that information because I won't be able to know what kind of character to assign to that player in the game. Other things I needed was experience. That kind of drives when they're getting minimum league salary. I need to know how many years of experience that player has. What players don't have a team assigned to them? I need that. If I don't have it, they're no good to me. So some of these players are going to get exceptioned, where I'll take them out and throw them in an exception table and worry about them later. If they don't have a position, I've cleaned it up now. So all of my players, I went from having like 600 players missing positions. Now I only have 63. And that's partly because some of those players weren't actually on teams. So a lot of stuff where I'm trying to pin down the total. And then I'm probably just going to exception these players, take them out, dump them in my exception table. But now that I have all of the information I need, I should be able to build up a team. Now I can use my auto team generator, which I built last week, that goes through all of the skills and all of the derived overall values, and uses the calculated salaries that I came up with to generate the teams. for the league. So whenever a player goes in, creates their first team, which is actually create a first league, and then they'll get to select a player. What I'm going to do, hold on, I need a drink here. The plan is that when I put the players into the game, say you come in, you create your team, or you create your account. The first thing that's going to happen is it says, building your first league. It builds the first league, and then it's going to display for you the 8 teams of that first like training league, and their 2 biggest stars, the 2 elite players that every team's going to have. And you can pick, and then you pick which team you want for your starting. And then so you'll get to pick, you'll get to see the players, and you get to pick which of the 8 teams you want, and that'll be your team for your first league, for your training league. But again, I wasn't able to build a full team, and I wasn't able to do the things I wanted to without having offensive players, offensive linemen, so I had to get those in there. So that's what I've been doing these last few days, and now I'm trying to debug or build this stupid piece. I'm terrible at Mongo. Okay, I'm learning all these different languages at once, and I haven't spent a lot of time writing my own Mongo queries. So I've been trying to get AI to kind of help me get this right, but there's some nonsense. Okay, so what I expect would happen is if I were to take out, say, all of these, all right, so if I go like that, I should go from 2170 to what, 2107. So that's what should happen, because if position is truly working, I should go down to 2107. Perfect. All right, it did its job. Okay, so that one works. So we're gonna comment all these out and just kind of see, make sure that they're all doing what I want. So we can go like that. So now we're at 1706, which should be 464. Yep, that's right. So games played. See, for some reason, with all these values in there, we're getting 0 teams. We're like all the teams get wiped out, which is nonsense, right? So, because the numbers don't even add up to that. So if I go like that, see, I dropped to 177. That's not right. Somehow only teams that didn't have games that match this criteria, which is weird, because according to this, I have no teams that are equal to 0. So greater than 0 should work fine. So yeah, something's weird. It's games played that's breaking my thing, apparently. So the question is, is this even a valid thing? Games played equals 0. How about if I say not? What if I try NE? Wait, nope, that didn't work either. Because all that did was give me 0, 0. So I'm still not getting. Well, okay, no, that's right. Not 0. Because we're not going to get negative, which means if it's not 0, oh, it could be empty. Not 0. And how about comma, any, oops, $sign, any, empty. Let's see what that does. Okay. See, I feel like it's not seeing that as a number, even though it is a number. It's like it must be a string. It's showing up as a string of some kind. That's the problem. That must be what's going on. Oh. It doesn't exist? It's not zero. It's not empty. It doesn't exist. There's something wrong with that. I don't know. I feel like there's... How can it be not zero, not empty, and not exist? It has things that equal 1. It is checking for equals 1. It is... There's something numeric about that. How about just not null? I don't know what that is, but we'll try that one. Not any... Oh. See if that's any different. I mean, it's I'm still dealing with a 0, right? I just don't know for sure that this is... Dude, it's still... Look at that. Something about... It doesn't like null and exists. Because I know these have it. Because like if I click on this guy... games played exists on everybody. At least it did. I mean, maybe there's something. Maybe it did get deleted. I mean, I had games played on everybody, but maybe. Look at no games played. Where are my games played? Dude, that's why. I guess not equal to 0 is right. Weird. Okay. I don't know. Mitch Berger was a punter. What the heck? How is he missing like everything? Huh. All right. Well, there you go. I've got a problem. My games played is not getting carried over because yeah. I didn't realize that's kind of important stats though, because I have some of my stats are going to be all screwed up without games played. Huh. All right. See, this is the thing. This is why I have to validate my data, because when I went and merged or pulled data from the other source, now I've got data coming from 2 different locations, and well, obviously, as you can see, that didn't work. All right, so I have to go fix my my Python call here. Where'd it go? It's actually a function in... Oh, I'm not in the right service. It's not in leagues. It's skills. Team defensive, team offense, and import NFL players. All right. All right, I got to what else do we have here? All right, we'll get at that. All right, so all right. The NFL import also needs to pull in games played and games started. How am I doing these formatting? I gotta make sure format's the same. Some of these guys. Wait, it's not on some of these other ones, is it? Okay, I just gotta make sure it doesn't exist in some places. All right. Pull in games played and games started as base stats. Ultimately, what I'm going to end up doing right now, I'm going through all this rigmarole. Ultimately, my hope is to pull all my data from the NFL Python library rather than the current way, which is taking my source data, which is all in Excel, formatting the Excel data into this code. And the reason I did it that way was because I had built a bunch of formulas on that Excel spreadsheets that I wanted to reuse, which means I needed to know which data points existed. So I pulled all the data in and rebuilt the formulas here in Go. And then I had it generate, okay, well, whatever stat points I'm using in these 40 formulas that I did, you need to put that into this flat file system, which is this one. So now these stats you see here are all ones I'm using for all the players in the league. Now, assuming they're all getting in here like they're supposed to, some players will have more complete than others. I don't know, Eric Barton, inside linebacker, apparently didn't have a lot going for him that year. Did he do anything? And some guys I'm getting are actually being pulled from the NFL Python library, not from my spreadsheet. So those ones are blank. They don't have any data. Only my spreadsheet has actual data because I'm not pulling the data points from the Python library. But what I'm hoping to do is once I get these base fields down, I will try and generate all those individual stats from the Python library and then build my whole league out of that data and not even use the imports. Then I'll do my my sys import, and the first thing it'll do is at every environment, it'll do an auto generate and populate all the data from the Python libraries. That's the objective. And then I will, from there, be able to build all of my points, because all the stuff I'm building here is being automated so that all I have when I deploy my application to each environment, test and production, well, even to my local dev, because this is my system dev. This is just me working on the code right here in my system. But I do have a local dev environment that's there to mimic an actual like place where I can make sure everything's functional before I deploy it to test, to be able to run tests and see what everything is doing, which is the last step before it goes. It's kind of like my dev environment is more like a test environment. My test environment's like an acceptance environment. And then my final environment is production. Now I have all those set up through a Docker. They're all Docker environments. And I've actually deployed to them, but it's been months. I haven't tried to deploy anything new there. And I assume GitHub keeps trying to deploy at every time I do this, because I have an auto continuous integration running. So when I check in code, it automatically attempts to deploy that code. Now, I've put new stuff in, I've changed some things, I've done some things, so it's possible my deploys aren't working right now. I might have to tweak them. But I haven't been worried too much about those deploys yet. I will have to worry about that more once I get this demo, this first initial release demo, done hopefully in the next few weeks. So, yeah. It's actually working pretty hard to get those two things. It's kind of cool though, because I tell it what I want and it can read the Python library. I don't know if you've ever gone online and tried to read the NFL Python libraries. they're pretty clunky. So you can see here, this is just my function that calls the Python. Oh, no, wait, no, okay, this is the Python. So this is all written in Python here. And they're just a set of functions that are going out and getting my data. So you got games played, games started. Oh, so it's looking up. It's trying to run some stuff to determine which ones actually have what we need. There are a number of fields that are GS and G. I don't even know that they have games played and games started. I don't know if it's just using those as a sampling, but it could. The Python library is kind of a jumble of stuff. It's got a lot of data in it, and it can be a little tricky to read it because it's not all terribly intuitive. You can guess some of it if you're, you know what could be talking about, but it does seem to be pretty good at getting things fixed. So the thing is, I will have to rerun a lot of my skills adjustments without games played in games, because those are actually used by a lot of things. I have formulas that that are weighted off of games played and games started. If that stuff isn't there, some of my skills are going to go, I don't know what to do with this. So it's just going to be zeroed out. So I'm going to have screwed up stats. That's why these need to be in place. So let's go ahead and allow this. This will actually try to run it. It'll build the stats, but I'll build the stats into my code. Hopefully, I'll be able to go look at it once it's done. It only takes a little bit. Okay, so it says it updated all the records. If it exists, maybe. Oh, is it putting it at the bottom? Nope. Okay, so that didn't work. All right, let's close to the right. And we'll try it again. Just in case it didn't refresh. Huh. No, well, it wasn't. Yeah, looked up Adrian Peterson. Nope. Well, it did an error, but it didn't return anything either. It's just gonna try to. It's just gonna try to run this. Grep IY. It didn't work. So, but I'm hoping it sees, because there is no games played in here or games started. And now I do have that data for my characters, but they're in my spreadsheets, and I want to pull it from the Python libraries. I'm trying to get as much stuff as I can from the Python libraries. Now that I've got my stats defined, I want to start pulling stuff from the Python libraries, because ultimately that's going to be my my source of data. Because I want to put like 16 years of data in my system, so I can play. I can build off many leagues, many new seasons of players. Have a lot of randomization for what players can be in. I don't know what it's trying to do. It's like, what are you doing, man? You gonna be able to get this? me run the Python script directly to see what it outputs. Okay. Clump. It's really dumped a lot of stuff. I already know games played and games started isn't in there. Yeah, what a mess. Not easily read. I'm sure it can read this fine, but I'm looking at this going, draft number, drafted by. I'm not seeing anything that says games played, games started. You know what's funny is I've Copilot, which is using Sonnet right now, I guess. I was using ChatGPT 5, and it was actually struggling to even figure out how to use this Python library. So what I did is I went over and talked to Microsoft Copilot. That's this guy right here. And I go, how would you do this? And it gave me a sample. And I went back to this one, which is supposedly this is using ChatGPT. This is just Microsoft's Copilot here. And supposedly it uses ChatGPT. So I asked it, how would you do this? It gave me some clues. I went back and put it in here and it figured it out immediately. So not all ChatGPT 5s are created equally because apparently the Microsoft Copilot could figure it out better than or Microsoft's Copilot could figure it out better than GitHub Copilot, which is funny because they're both owned by Microsoft, right? Oh, okay. Oh, he's gonna try something else. It says. He's looking in the wrong data. See, there's draft data, there's roster data, and there's seasonal weekly data for each week. I have some ideas. It'd be kind of cool at some point. I had this idea to have special leagues at some point where you pick your team and you get to make your game plan and your playbook, but you don't get to pick your players, right? And what I want to do is, if this Python thing works, have these special leagues that happen during the football season, during the regular season. And what you get to do is they'd be 1 week behind, okay? And every week I would pull in the stats for that week's data, because you get them after the games are played, right? So I pull in the stats for that week's data. And then you get a run up against everybody else who's playing in the league or whatever. And using your playbook and your game plan with those players and their stats from the previous week. Now, it's going to be kind of weird because they're going to have their stats, their skills and everything are going to get built off of however they did on the previous week. And then as the season progresses, they'll have more and more, and they'll get more and more stable. So it'll be a little weird as the season goes on, because you're going to be your stats will stabilize, because they're going to get, at first you could have fantastic players in week 1 against terrible players in week 1, and then in the second week, third week, fourth week, fifth week, you'll have better and better. Your players will balance out, hopefully, but you don't get it. The one thing you don't have any control over is how your players advance, because it's just going to be how they perform in actual season play. So you may get kind of screwed, but if you may have a good game plan and good whatever, you'll still have stats to work with, and I'll build it so that it can populate and say, okay, you get to run the games this week, and you can see how your teams can do and whether or not the results all come out the same. Are your game plans and your playbooks able to create different results for games, and you'll be playing against other people. That might be one of my I'm thinking that'll be a really cool, like, special edition league that people can join. I don't know. Maybe I'll run those. I haven't decided how I'm going to put those into the game, but I want to be able to add special things like that. Have special seasons and stuff where people can play. Like I want to have like a Champions League, and where people who have won their league championships all play together, that kind of stuff. And how that stuff's going to get implemented, I think, won't be the hard part. It's just whether or not how that's built in. Is it going to be part of season passes? Is it going to be some monetized extra thing? Because like I said, I got to figure out how to make this thing make some money, because I'm not going to do microtransactions, at least not in the sense that I don't want people. There's going to be no blocking people from playing regular games and league games. So yeah, like I said, that's why it's probably going to be a PC game first with extensions. So if you want to play on the phone or Android or Apple or the web, these will be like extensions that you can get that will allow you to play your teams and stuff on those different interfaces. But yeah, how that's going to happen, still kind of in the works, but we're a ways away from that. So let's just get the thing working first. Of course, I'm always up for ideas and feedback, but yeah, it's also got to be a good work. So what did he come up with? Did he solve my problem? Games call. Games call. Whoa. Just dump the data, man. All right, so now it thinks it has something. I don't know where it's getting stuff. James Davis, position, experience, drafted by. Draft number, drafted by. Here. These are just my data. This is not even the data that's... Huh. I don't know what data this is. It looks like my data. I don't know how this is going to help him. Because drafted by is not even a Python field. That's my field in my database. In the Python data, it's called team, but it's part of the drafted data source or drafted library or whatever they call it. Like I said, there's like a bunch of different sources. In the draft source, it's called team, which refers to the team that drafted them. And then it also has things like draft number. And I have some plans, like I said, that draft number is going to have a pretty big part in playing how my players' potential is driven. Yeah, you're not getting off that easy. Okay, so it's the 24th. I am curious. Let's go look at my my consumptions for Copilot. See how close am I to my limit? I know I've got about a week left. I do want to get busy. I'm actually thinking once I start working a little bit more full time in my code, which might be soon in the UI for Unity, I might be buying Busy, which is $20 a month. For a guy with no money, it's a little bit risky, but whatever. Investment, I guess. 74. I got to work harder at burning this. I got to run out on day 31 of the month. Day 30 of the month. I guess it's only 30 days in this month. Huh? Why is it? That's really weird. Why? All right, let's see. It doesn't seem to be very good at figuring this out. Let me go try. I'm tempted to go try. Player ID, season. There's no data on here though. This is just fields. The NFL import season data function works differently than I expected. It doesn't take a stat type parameter like passing, rushing, etc. Instead, it returns a combined data set with all seasonal stats, including a games column. Sample games data. All right. Don't know. What did it do? Game call, season, game fields, candidates. It's doing a little bit of a shotgun approach to all this stuff. Boo! It says games there, but game calls, undrafted team map size. I don't know what that means. Undrafted first team matches. There's all kinds of interesting draft stuff on here. But none of these are numbers. There's experience. That's my data again, though. Games played, null. That's not helpful, man. Oh, that one has games played 4. That's something. Who is this guy? Mike Mickens. Didn't play in any games. So, are you figuring it out? Oh, he's doing a summary. It says it thinks it figured it out. All right, let's go see what happens if I go here and go to my skills and let's not do a rebuild just yet. Let's do this one. Well, that's interesting, but it doesn't tell me how they have games started. Games played, yes, but games started, I don't know. Update positions, shots applied. Huh. Games played right there. But not everybody's getting it. Let's go look at somebody like Marty Booker. He should definitely have a games played. Because I'm pretty sure he was a pretty good player. Oh, there's games played, but there's no games started. Which does matter. That's a field I need. Let's go see if my other buddy can figure this out. Let's change this to a new page. Where I might find. Let's go. Let's do a GPT-5 Think Deeply Smart. Because this doesn't have games started. Oh, there it is. Oh, no, there's seasons started. Seasons started? position. These must just be like a, this must just be like a column headers. It's gonna be fun trying to get the specific data I need, because there's weekly data. Games, fantasy points, seasons, completions, sacks. Huh, it's not in there. Use weekly imported data, or both rosters imports include player level attributes such as games played, games started. Okay. You seem to be struggling. Try this bit of info. This last time I did this, I figured it out like that. Just like that. I was like, oh, okay. It's like it just guesses. It can't figure it out. But I ask Copilot, and it goes, do this. And I go back to Copilot, GitHub Copilot, and say, do this. And it's like, okay. It's like Microsoft's Copilot is smarter than GitHub Copilot. And they're both ChatGPT. Well, I'm using Claude Sonnet right there. So to be fair, I'm not now, but I was using GPT-5. The reason I went to Claude Sonnet is because GPT-5 wasn't figuring it out. I'm not being any more successful in that sense now, but let's see what happens. I'm going to see if after that little maneuver, things have gotten any better. Let's see. It should just basically say the same thing. Updated 1995 or so. 1993. How are we doing? I don't even know who Matt Burke is. Dre Bly? Well, that didn't work. Unless they don't have it for that many. 1993 is only 200 people. I doubt I'm so far off that. There's games played, but again, no games started. Let's actually do this. Close. Just in case I'm looking at old data. Games played, I got that, but we do not have games started. Is it running something here? Oh, that didn't work. That didn't work. Games. But there's no game started. You know, it's funny because all of my data, the ones that came from, that I have in my spreadsheets, I have games played and games started. And all that data came from, I believe it came from this same source. But I don't know how. So I know it exists. If that means anything at this point, I know it exists. I have to have those or my stats are going to be broken. Now, I can import that stuff from my source data, which works, but I don't want to do it that way because that's not going to help me, because I need to eventually be able to pull all this data from the Python library. So I thought, well, rather than my pull, there was a Dan Gronkowski. Got distracted. Well, is it Dan Gronkowski right here in the middle? And then I don't even know what this is trying to do. Let's see. It's just trying to read some data, but. So this is just a list of column headers: stats, team, week, season, rookie, player year. And they kept a lot of interesting pieces of information. Headshot URL. Oh wow, I could actually get a picture of these guys. I'm not going to do that, but I know you can do that. Game type. There's no game started on here. This is the wrong source. Is it just looking at different sources? See, this one's looking at seasonal rosters. I'm going to look at weekly rosters. Yeah, fix the syntax error. Fix the syntax error, man. All right, so what do we got? Age, birth date, college, entry, draft, ESPN, fantasy. This is weekly roster. There's team. There's no game started on there. What fields did it say to try? Import weekly rosters. Years, columns, none, or. And seasonal rosters. That's not it. Seasonal rosters and weekly rosters don't have. Huh. So you're wrong. See roster calls. It's probably doing that. This is surprising. Neither seasonal rosters or weekly rosters contain the games played and games started columns that the user mentioned. What is the problem, my friend? Seems games started and games played do not appear to be listed as columns in those Python libraries. Oh, great. This is telling me that doesn't exist. Huh. Hmm. Huh. That throws me off, man. Okay. So game started. Oh boy, I could. Is there a way to know their depth chart position? I would say. All right. Let's see. Okay. Seems maybe the data does not exist. Perhaps we can infer it. Is there a means? If so, make this a separate function. Don't over complex. Complicate? Complicate. Complicate the main function. To read depth chart data for week for each week in the season. Players in this starting position started. Then we would have to look for. Gosh, what would I? What's a guaranteed? Huh. If I wanted to infer games played, is there a snap participation in Python library or any other single field would provide that piece of information, so I would have to check for a stat value in every single stat. Play by play, but too granular for games played flag. Import participation data. Here's this is the one that contains snap counts of participation by player per game. Columns include things like if a player has a row in this data set for a given game, you can safely infer they played. Oh, I love this. I love this. Snap counts could make some of my stats a lot more precise, having that information. Yeah, I'm really liking this. But for now, I'm not going to worry about that. You know what I might actually do? Nah, I was gonna say snap, get a total. I wonder if I should have. Oh, I'm pulling myself into the weeds. I don't want to do it. Well, I'd want to do it, but I don't know if I should do it right now. I want to get all the snap counts, but okay. So I'm trying to get it to implement this. Um, Now I don't know how depth chart data works. Others, or do we just have to know that the first player is starter at QB and the top two wide receivers, CBs, are starters? Well, let's see what it does. Let's see. I need to add the logic to populate the for game columns. Now let's test our updated script to see if I can infer the game's data. Now let me add separate function for game played and game started from participation depth chart. All right, let's I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. How do you, what is the norm for? It's like define base formation. Is it 3 linebackers? What's the normal amount of starting linebackers? 3, 2 CBs, 2 CBs, 3 linebackers. That'd be 5. And then what? 2 defensive ends, 2 safeties. That's 9. And then 2 tackles. That's defense. And what about, yeah, and then on offense, you got two wide receivers. I'm thinking two wide receivers, one tight end. Everybody else is not going to be a starter. I mean, I'm not going to worry about it. Safety. Third linebacker. Defensive end. Center. Kicker. Second wide receiver, CB, defensive end, tackle, defensive tackle, guard, third linebacker. That good? So that would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That only counts 19 starters. I don't have enough starters. Who am I missing? Centers, 2 guards, 2 tackles. Second CB and third linebacker. Who am I missing? 2, 4. Oh. Put a comma here. Oops. Stop it. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Oh, technically I'm off. It should be 24 because kicker and punter are another. So who else is a starter that I'm missing here? I don't think teams usually have 2 tight ends, do they? As starters? I mean, I can add in wide receiver. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 6 is 24. Okay, we'll do that. All right, that'll do it. Yeah, because first of all, 24 players start. One's a kicker, one's a punter. That's 22 players. And you have every position that's got to be represented. So if you, but some positions aren't really starters. I mean, you got 5 offensive linemen, 2 receivers, a running back, and a quarterback, but that's only 5, 6, 7, 8 players, right? No, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 10 players. So you got to have a third wide receiver to get to 11. And then on defense, you've got 4 defensive guys on the line and 3 linebackers at least. So I'm doing 3 linebackers. Usually are at least 3. 4-3 is pretty common, but you might go 3-4 more linebackers. But those extra linebackers would be considered not starting. I think generally you've got at least a 4-3 setup. And that's what I'm going to go with for starters. That doesn't mean that's what your defense plays all the time. And really, in the end, it's not going to matter to the game. It's just how I'm building the stats and who I'm going to give credit for starting in more games. Ultimately, if a player plays in every game, it's going to have a very minimal effect on their starting state. So, like a long snapper's not a starter, but he might play in every game, right? I mean, he's going to play 16, but he's probably not considered a starter because, he's not guaranteed to be in the game. Kicker's guaranteed to be in the game. Punter's all but guaranteed. I mean, geez, it's rare for a team to go without punting. Kicker's guaranteed because they got to kick off. And even if it only happens at the start of the half one time, they're going to kick off. So the kicker is always guaranteed. So they will be a starter. And then, so there's only so much that can be happening in a game, right? So I still want to have 24 players get counted as starters. I don't know how well it's figuring this stuff out, or even if that it works. I have it inferring all this stuff. And so we're kind of really I'm really guessing. It's going to be interesting to see how it comes out. All this stuff. I presume from the weekly roster data. Use participation snap counts for games played. Import participation data years. Contains offensive snaps. Alright, well, let's see what it comes up with. And it's actually running the data. So we're going to see what's on if we actually successfully got me some inference going. How many records? 1993 updated. All right, so we're going to go ahead and close this, and then we're going to go back to Isaac Bruce. Mark Brunel. Isaac Bruce, okay. Games played, 9. Dun, dun, dun. No games. Games played, 9, but no. Oh, games started doesn't exist. So games started didn't infer. Because I would imagine somebody. Yeah, nobody's. I'm getting a lot of games started. Or games played. So it's able to infer the games played, it looks like. But not able to infer games. How come Jeff Garcia is missing? Seems like he's kind of important. He had 10 years of experience. I know he played a lot. Unless he was at the end of his career. Huh. Joey Galloway? He was still playing? Oh, Joey Galloway? Wow, he must have been really late in his career at that point. 14 seasons. Yeah, he was bench warmer. At least according to that. Amon Green. He might have been playing pretty good at that time. Yeah. He was a good player. Games played 7. Was he hurt that year? Huh. Torrey Holt. Did anybody play for every game? There's a 15. Like a lot of guys taking the year off. Not a lot. I mean, he had 103 targets, 51 receptions, but he's missing all this stuff. Oh, he's not. Yards here, but he's... Oh, those are pass attempts. Oh, okay. Field goal attempts. Yeah, I guess he wouldn't have any of that. And he does have a couple of receptions out here. Not very many, though. 11 to 20, 21 to 30. But he has no BLS? Well, I guess not all receivers do. And 1 to 10? He had no 1 to 10s? These don't add up, huh? Because according to this, he's got 41 plus. Oh, these, yeah, that's only like 4 plays. But yeah, he caught 32, 11 to 20. That's not right. Yards, oh, that's yards. Yards at catch. Are these yards after catch? BLS reception, 25 plus yards gained. Caught, thrown. Oh. Okay, maybe that's not. Well, you would think all of these would be, every catch here is 21 plus yards gained. Well, at least these ones are. That's only 3, though. If he had yards at catch 21 times a 40 plus, that feels like targets. Who catches? He had 21 40-yard catches? That seems suspicious. It seems like an awful lot of 40-yard catches. John Kitt now, was he still playing back then? Ray Lewis. No games played. See, there's something. There's something still wrong about some of this stuff. Ryan Longwell. No data for him? Oh, yeah. I know that's not right. Because I know I have Ryan Longwell in my spreadsheet, and he had all kinds of data. He was actually one of the better kickers that year. There is definitely some flaws in this data. Orlando Murray. Now he should have like almost all the games played. Why are there no games played for these kickers? Here, I'll tell you what. I'll answer. Got a high pitched noise going on in here somewhere. All right, so do they? You should be looking. Let's try this. You should be looking in the player stats collection, not anywhere else. And the valid year field is actually init year is the field name. Also, I noticed that games played is not getting updated correctly for most players, and some they don't even have a games played. It is? I looked at Isaac Bruce. I looked at Isaac Bruce. I could have swore I did. Leonard, Joey, Alman, blah, 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 London, Pennsylvania. There he is, Isaac Bruce. Well, he does have a games played, but not everybody has games played. Nope, it's not in there. There's no game started. I don't know where it's looking. There's no game started. It says it says it's there, but we're looking at it going, no, not there. What's it saying? There's a lot of players without games started, though, at all. Okay, so that did kind of answer part of my problem. So when we were looking for not equal to 0 in my data quality check, that worked because null is not equal to 0. Which, of course, is, duh. That's very much true, but it's also not what we're looking for. We need to have it say it's greater than 0. And so this games played 0, it says equals 0. Well, we didn't have any equal to 0. But also games. Oh, we can do this. Okay, games played equal to 0, comma. We will say exists true. This will kill all those values, and that's how I know that's going to fix that. Because games played should now have something. Let's go see what this does. Because we have some that are set now. Games played equals 0. We don't have. Actually, it's games played equals 0. That's not right. It's not 0. 0. Oh, how about this? Games played equals 0. or exists is false. Let's try that. Well, we know some of these guys have it, so... And it's not all of them, because I can go here and he's missing it. You don't have games played. See, most of these guys do not have a games played, which says a lot. Considering their stats on this guy, he played at least one game. But yeah, he's not in there, so he's got stats. All these sack yards, all this stuff is single player. This guy was in the game. But yeah, he's not getting any stats. So something's weird. Not all players are getting games played. Some are, but very few. This guy has valid defensive stance, but it shows no games played. As in, the field is not even there. Yeah, the problem with this is we're getting a bad check. Yeah, it says all players have it because you're going equals. This is not a good way to check this. It's probably more like this value. I bet you if we go like this thing, it just shows that they don't actually have the value. Put games played in here. I bet you this will kick back a lot of players that are missing it. Huh? What did I do? I'm missing the syntactically scrunk that. Unexpected, blah, 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 blah. I don't even know what that says. What the heck is that? Can it not look at, I might be syntactic. Oh, I see. It's not supposed to have this. So really I could just do something like that. To see, I'm checking for games played. Cannot use GT. Zero. Instead, check Okay, so that returns 1,400. So I'm only getting 600 players with games played. So that's not quite right. Whoa, I didn't even know. I didn't even know it had um, game started. 177. That's pretty good because it matches the experience missing, guys. Which is, what is today? Tomorrow, Thursday? So I was supposed to get on my UI this week, but I'm trying to optimize my data so that when I start pulling, I'm so close. Okay, I've got a cool plan for how I'm going to set this up. Assuming, of course, AI can walk me through the UI parts of it. But I've gotten some done. So once the big trick was just trying to figure out, all right, so you create your account, then you click start. I should change it from start to kickoff, huh? You kick off, and then it'll generate. What I'll do is I'll try to put in a status bar that says, "Hey, generating league data," or creating your first league is what it'll be. And then it'll pop up a message board or a board that shows you the teams that'll be available to you. That's what I want to do. And then you can pick your team that you want to be yours, and then select one of the names for that team, and then then it'll give you an option. I guess then at that point, it'll take you back to the home page, and you can go do whatever. You can go start navigating the game. One of those things will be quick play, which I'll have to go through and let you go to play the game, where the only option that's going to work is quick play, and I have to create the quick play. And that's the kind of the next thing. I already have a lot of the code for quick play there. I do got to go through and start plugging in all the tests, but that is what I want to do next. So I want to get the UI to let you navigate to the quick play, and then you can run a game. That's the objective. That's what I'll be working on these next couple of weeks. But first, we need data. I'm going to go back over here. You know what? I'm going to add games played. So I'm going to add games started to this little test of mine. Games played, we're going to go like this. And we're going to say games started. Now, honestly, this should be like a third of all the players in the league. Well, no, I guess all players should have it, or most players should have it. Oh, I didn't put the game started down here. Games played. So 1,900 of them didn't get us started. 1,434 have 600 positives. and even less positives for games started. Now, I imagine for games started, most players, I mean, I would think a lot of players, at least half the players in the league should have some starting. I would think, right? At least 800, 900 players should have started some games. If you figure there's only 24 starters, what is it? 24 times 32, and that's very basic. Every week. But you know the guys get hurt, and you go 24 times 32. So it's like 800 players about should have at least 800 players should be starting every game every week. And I would think it's safe to bet that it probably exceeds 1,000 players start at some point in the season, at least for some of the games. You know, the same 800 might start most of them, but there's plenty of guys who come in and have to fill in. I should probably hit the hay. It's almost 11 o'clock. I got a lot going on tomorrow. So this was my one big stream today. I was hoping to get more UI in. But we are kind of sort of in a way close to having my data pretty solid. I do need to get games played and games started working. It's doing the same thing it's doing. So we got some people. He says it's working partially now. Let's see. Well, this is saying that according to this now, all of a sudden everybody's got it. So I should be able to click on any one of these guys like Kevin Falk and he'll have started and played. Okay. Didn't start any games. Brett Favre. All right, so Brett Favre's played in 16 games, but didn't start. He was their star quarterback. Yeah, see, everybody, okay. All players. Jeez, I can't type. All players. Actually, you know what? Let's stop this. Actually, all players are showing games started equals 0. Even players like Brett Favre, who are obviously the primary quarterback in their team. Huh. Well, I'm going to let the AI go at this for a bit, which means I'm going to bed. So we're closer. We do have now games played for everybody, and I think that's actually working correctly. If you see, I go back to my stuff here. I don't have, let's see, if it's missing Or let's see, can I do like a can I do something like, okay, so match missing game started, comma. I'm not sure why. Oh, that's because it put this on the same line. That's why. It's weird. Just for the sake of consistency, let's put this down here. All right, so nice. Now I can have it set up the same way. Okay, so I think I can add, if I go to games played, 0, comma, let's see, was it GT greater than dollar sign, oh, it's dollar sign GT, dollar sign GT, 0. Greater than? Equals 0. Yeah, that's what I want. EQ 0. Oh, nope, 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 nope. Just want, I want EQ. I want it both, though. Really? Ah, whatever. Is there a problem if I go with 0? Okay, let's put that on that. I don't think there's a problem with me putting it on here. Field exists. I have to do ORs for all these? Whatever. Because that would be a problem too. All right, so game started, games played. All right, so let's do that. So, okay, so games started jumps up to almost everybody, but games played is pretty solidly getting a value. So, yeah, we need to get this number down to where at least half the players, or mostly, almost half the players at least, are not getting that value. But we are getting close. I mean, the data is getting better. I do need the starteds for some of my stats. I could probably get around it if I started messing with snap count. Because if I knew team snap count versus player snap count, I can probably make some of the same kind of assumptions that I did. Just percentages wise, that's kind of what I was doing with games played. So, it's a little trickier though, right? Because what I did on a couple of scenarios, I have two situations where I'm using games played and games started. One is I actually give a player a boost based on certain kinds of stats. Like say, for example, they're a pass rusher. And that's all they do. That's their thing. They come in on 3rd and 4th down or whatever, and they rush the quarterback. These guys are like good. They're trying to, maybe they don't play as often. Maybe they're not as durable, so they're going to have a little less conditioning fatigue kind of scenario. But I also don't want them hurt by the fact that they're not starting as often or playing as many plays. I want them to get full credit as long as they're playing different teams. So I have situations where I check for the games they play in, but not necessarily worry about their stats or the number of starts. Now, starts are sometimes a thing I use for strength balancing against certain types of plays. So I do have it in there. I don't think I use it but like once or twice, but I can maybe get around it. But I forgot. There is a situation where it's pretty significant where I use games played, or games started. It just means it's used kind of as a proof of conditioning. People who play in every game and start in every game are considered pretty durable because they're always there, always showing up. If a person doesn't start as many games, that it'll affect their injury fatigue starting points. Now, in the game, again, a lot of this stuff is just starting points. Stuff that, to be fair, is only going to show you what your starting player's stats are. All that stuff's going to pretty much go out the window once you're like halfway through a season, because it's going to start to tweak, alter, and start being based on actual in-game play. And then that in-game play is going to start to shape your player for reality. But I plan to run a lot of simulations and make sure that things are kind of running percentages-wise throughout the entire league pretty close to right. So it's trying to figure out how to get games started. I feel like the data's there. Here, this means we need to use a completely different approach. Uh-oh. Now let me also fix the depth chart issue by checking if we have a better approach. The real issue might be that we should use seasonal rosters directly, since they should have game played and game started. Wouldn't that be cool? But they don't. Huh. I don't know how it's doing depth charts. I'm not seeing any of that.